It is your travel agent, David, and we are in Seoul, South Korea for the day. And we're going to do a lot of the top things to do here in Seoul. So we're going to start off with the Gyeongbokgung Palace. So here at the palace, they also have a couple different museums. They have the National Folk Museum of Korea and the National Palace Museum of Korea. And they do also have a changing of the guard here. So hopefully we'll be around when they do that and we can capture it. That'd be pretty cool. But what's cool is we can start here and we can just walk right down the straight path. We're going to hit a couple palaces, some gates. There's just a lot of things that we're going to be able to do in a straight line. So if you've been to Washington, D.C., it's set up pretty similar to that. So let's go check it out. We got our tickets for two people, two adults. It is 6,000 won, which works out to $4.29 at today's conversion rate. So not very expensive to come out here and check out all this. The lockers are free, so it's a great place to put your backpack, purse, or whatever. You just have to press the star, 4 digits, and remember your locker number, and you'll be good to go. The reason you see a lot of people in traditional garb is that, one, you can rent it and you can have fun. Two, if you're dressed in traditional garb, you get in for free. So you get fun and free, two favorite Fs. when you come here, just know that there is no such thing as an even walking surface at all. So if you have a bad back, ankles, things like that, you might want to keep that into consideration, because everything is just raw stone here, just from when it was here hundreds of years ago. It's pretty cool. Now, the other thing I want to tell you about is on Mondays, the palace is closed. I'll give you 2 hints on what today is. Unfortunately, today is Monday, and it's the only day we have here in Seoul. So we won't be able to go into the palace, but at least they have the grounds open, which is really awesome and a great treat in and of itself. If you notice behind me, if you can count them, there are 7 statues up there. So 7 statues, 5 statues are indicative of a king. 3 would be a prince. If there is nothing on that building at all, that would mean it was for commoners to access, and the royal family would never go in there. There's a better look at there. You can see the statues up there, the little figurines. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 7 of them up there as well, indicative of the king. Those colors and the architecture are just so vibrant and detailed. It's phenomenal. Now, behind me, you see all the way around here, there's just a covered hallway. It's so that if it was raining, the politicians and stuff that would come visit the king, they could walk all the way to the palace without getting wet. Pretty bougie. So if you see some of the guys walking around here in like red or blue robes, that's indicative of royalty. Now the king would always have their designs done in gold. The crown prince could have gold or silver, and they would have claws on the dragon, and only royalty wore dragons. And if you had 3 claws, that was the crown prince, and if you had 5 or more claws, that meant that you were the king. come here, there are a lot of photo opportunities, but there's a lot of people trying to take advantage of that. So you're going to have to just understand that you're probably going to have somebody in your photo, or you're going to be in somebody's photo, because there's just so many photos being taken around. There's a good example of the 7 ornaments that indicate the king. So I'm not sure what this building is, but as you can see, there are no ornaments up there. So that would mean it is a commoner building. So it could have been something like a uh, kitchen or something to that effect where workers would be, or maybe some servant quarters. But there's the idea of where you can see the difference. So nothing there, some there, and there. But Heejin was saying that the guys, when they're wearing a black hat, that meant that they had money. And depending on what their chin strap was made out of, would be indicative of how much money they had. So it could be cloth, it could be jade, it could be gold, it could be silver. And that would be the indicative way of figuring out the status symbol back then. So, because they didn't have Porsches, Lamborghinis, and Ferraris back then. Heejin was also saying that the poor villagers would sell their daughters to the palace, to the king, to be maids. Well, maids didn't sound like it was M-A-I-D, it was more like M-A-D-E, because they were made to do everything. And once you came into the palace, you couldn't leave unless you got pardoned by the king, or you went out with your feet first. That completes our time here at the palace. What did you think? What did you think?
Very big,
Very
beautiful.
Yes, the architecture is just insane, and the quality of the paint is so vibrant.
Sound like you could go to Sherman-Williams.
Yeah, we could go to Sherman-Williams maybe. We'd be like, we want the palace color palettes. But if you have any questions about the palace, let me know. It's definitely worth coming to, even though we weren't able to get into the palace because it's technically closed. And we weren't able to see the changing of the guard. Oh, see, I told you there's not a level of places around here. But you can't get pictures free with the guards. So you just got to wait in line for that up at the front. But if you could do me a favor, if you like this video, if you could hit the like and subscribe button, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you. And hopefully when you come here to the palace, you will have as much fun as we did.